Jesus taught to be engaged and disengaged with social media. The verse I'm talking about today is in Mark chapter 1, verse 32. It reads, "That evening, after sunset, the people brought to Jesus all the sick and demon-possessed. The whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. He also drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was." Verse 35, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." So we see Jesus up all night, healing the sick, powering through his ministry, and then getting up the next morning to have time with God. You see, it wasn't just Jesus going off of his own strength to power through that ministry. His power came from God by seeking that time in the morning. So he engaged with all of the people, but he also disengaged to have time with the Father. Now today in our modern era, we have our smartphone technology. We want to be engaged, connected with people all the time. And we should connect with people. We should engage with people, but do so in a righteous and spiritual way. So when do we engage? When do we disengage? Well, if Jesus had a smartphone, he probably wouldn't sit there, get bored, start scrolling through Instagram. The Bible actually says we have to crucify those fleshly desires. We have to be alive in the Spirit. So what would alive in the Spirit look like? Well, if Jesus had a smartphone, he would probably use it for reaching out. You know, in our modern era, 89% of people will look at your website before they set foot in your church lobby. We can't ignore statistics like that. We have to pay attention to the presentation on our websites, not to make ourselves look better, but to draw people into the Father, into God. I came across a website once and had broken links and outdated content. The minister told me we don't need to update our website because people don't visit our website. But that's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. In my home church in Eugene, we keep the content updated, and we have guests every Sunday who say they found us through the website. Jesus reached out to anyone and everyone, but we get on social media and we make a judgment call about the people we're connected with. We look at the popular people in our class, the professional contacts, the prominent business people, and say, oh, they don't really need me, they don't need my church on social media. Really, we're saying they don't really need God. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have the people that bring in a lot of drama. They have a lot of needs. Perhaps they're homeless, mental illnesses, maybe just a large family, they need help babysitting, and we say, wow, that person really needs God, but we don't want them to need or want us. We don't want to get involved in that drama, and so we cast them aside as well. This is not what Jesus would have done on social media. So when we wake up in the morning, we can't go straight to our smartphones connecting with that. We have to go to God. We have to connect with Him to power us through the day. It says in 1 Peter 4:17, to be alert and sober-minded when you go to our Father in prayer. Now many of us wake up and we immediately jump on the smartphone. That's not being sober-minded. That's clouding us with technology. We can't connect to God when we first connect to our smartphone. That's where Jesus would have disengaged, turned the smartphone off, because he knew and valued that connection with the Father. When we're alive in the Spirit, Jesus wants to give us the answers. He wants to give us direction in our lives, not the other way around. We can't lead the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit leads us. But in our modern era, in our smartphones, we want to have all the directions. We want to have all the answers right there in the palm of our hand. If we have all the answers and all the direction we need in our lives, where's the room for the Holy Spirit? How can we allow Him to direct us? How can we get answers from the Spirit when we want to go to our smartphone first thing to draw on all the answers? So what are you doing first thing in the morning? We need to call ourselves back to Mark 1. We need to ask ourselves where we're going in the evening. Are we really connecting with people? Are we using our smartphones, our technology as a tool or as a toy? Because you need to get face-to-face with people. You can't just rely on the media. And are you going to the Father in the morning? Are you going to the true light or your smartphone's light?